All right, here we are, fresh back from ICAST. Going to give you a couple things that if you may have missed. We've been pumping the missile baits stuff pretty hard, so we're not going to talk about that specifically, but one of the coolest things that I think I saw at ICAST was a new G-Finesse hook. It's in the Brent Ehrler line. It is a stinger with a keeper on the hook shank like that. Now, this is something that my buddy Ed Lochran's been doing for a number of years, but they finally put it into a production hook. It's got the tournament grade wire, but it does not have the nano coating, because if they put the nano coating, the weld on the shank would not hold. So as you can see, that keeper right there, it is perfect for putting little small baits. And I'm going to take a micro D-bomb, but whether you want a micro D-bomb or some other smaller soft plastic, and you can just thread that bad boy on there. And what you'll get is that when you put this thing on a drop shot, you have the hook further back in the bait, and it kind of looks like it's, it's part of the bait. I could have probably threaded it a little further, but I was just doing it quick to put it on camera. But that's it right there. That thing is going to be slick. It's going to get a workout, and the baits won't slide down, so you can get a better hookup when those smallmouth come up and nip at it rather than just nose hooking it. So that's very cool. You can do it with bigger worms. They have a bunch of different sizes, everything from I think a 6 all the way up to 1/0. What I saw in this is a number 2. I think that's probably going to be the most common for smaller drop shot baits, whether it's a micro D-bomb or flatworm or something like that. That was like really cool. They announced the Gamakatsu Horizon Head. They've been talking about that just a little bit, and just to show you, that Horizon Head has a different hook. It has that EWG style jig hook, and I know that, myself included, a lot of people have had hookup issues on the jig head minnow throwing it for smallmouth. And you can see this is the 5.2 gram. They've been fishing these in Japan for a bit, but when you look on the back, you can see that's just a 3/16. 3/16 is real common for the jig head minnow stuff. And if you're going to be, this is a 1/0 hook in it. I've got the 3.5 inch spunk shad right here. I'm just going to thread this on real quick and run it up. It's got that double barb keeper on there. I think that's probably going to hold her pretty tight. But that's it right there. I like the way it lines up. I mean, it looks real good, and it's not, it doesn't stick up a whole bunch. So when those smallmouth get it, they don't have real big mouths, so that when they get that thing in their mouth, if they get that EWG style hook, I got a feeling it's going to be a real high hook to land ratio. So that's that new Horizon Head by Gamakatsu. I will be giving that here a workout, and they have different sizes. That's just the kind of the middle of the road size, the 5.2. They have a 4.4, which I think is an 1/8 ounce, and then a 6.2, which I believe is a 1/4 ounce. So they have some different sizes to check on. And in case you missed it, Spro is announcing that they are going to do the micro DD. This is one of my prototypes, man. This is the one I've had for a minute, man. I've beat it up. I've caught a bunch of fish on it, hand painted with a spray paint and a little clear on it. So that's what I have to do sometimes with the prototypes. But that's what and that's the regular Little John, which is a 55. This is a 45, so it's a little. You can see it's 10 millimeters shorter, a little bit shorter. I'll get it better centered up in the screen there for you. But that's going to be coming probably in the October time frame. Just to go back on these hooks. These hooks are going to be available in the August 2024. Sometime in August, you'll probably see these start showing up online and in stores. So real soon from right now. Horizon Heads, I think, are in the same realm. I didn't get a definitive answer on that, but yeah, the micro Little John Micro 45. That bad boy runs about 3 feet deep, 2 to 3 feet deep. It is you can cast it with a bait caster, probably 10-pound test light line, especially if you're throwing BFS. If you have that BFS set up, you can throw it a mile. Spinning rods are just fine with it as well. You can heave it a mile with the spinning rod. There is no weight transfer system in there. The bait is too short, and it does not function properly. We played around with that, and the bait is so small and compact, but yet still has that slow float like the Little Johns do. It still casts real well, just like the DD version. So this is the DD45 version, and we just came out with the shallow version. So that'll be something else to check out. And I didn't get my hands on them to bring them back and show you, but there were some different soft plastics. It seemed like this was the year of the soft plastics. There weren't a lot of hard plastics coming out that were new, which is not a surprise because soft plastics category is where it's at. Jighead minnows and all that kind of stuff, of course. But, you know, Crush City, Rapala, those guys over there, a bunch of good dudes at the company. I like those guys. They came out with a handful of new shapes, some cool looking stuff from them. And then NetBait did a whole hex series, like the body of the baits. If you haven't seen them yet, you have to go check the NetBait stuff out. The whole body of it has like a hex pattern on it. I don't know exactly. I didn't get the full sales pitch from those guys. I didn't get to see it. I saw the baits and just kind of got to see them from a distance. I know Scott Canterbury's got them on his social media. You can kind of check those out. He runs through the lineup as well. I didn't get to take any video or anything, but they look cool. They're different. And I think that'll be something for people to check out and see really is, you know, what's the functional difference. I think it's something with the turbulence, like, you know, like with the ribs on some baits, that hex pattern, those hex indentions, I think will cause a little more disturbance than, you know, a smoother body, if that's the deal that you're looking for there. I'm trying to think through everything else that I saw. I saw Berkeley had a bait called the drip minnow. I just caught a glimpse of it, didn't really get to see what it was all about. Like I said, there's gonna be more and more stuff coming out in this category. So I didn't get a chance to examine it, so I can't tell you what was different about it and why they did it. But Berkeley's been doing a bunch of good new stuff, whether hard baits or soft baits. You know, a lot of that's forward facing stuff as kind of everything is now. So you'll have to just stay tuned and see what Missile Baits does going forward, and Spro and basically all the other companies. But I know I missed something in there in my my little synopsis. But if you see something, if you saw something and you think I should have mentioned it, the one thing, Z-Man had a bunch of cool stuff. They had a tungsten Evo chatterbait. So basically, we went back to the $15.99 price point, but the head is dramatically smaller. Not a little bit smaller. It's dramatically, like 3/8 to 3/8 or half ounce to half ounce, dramatically smaller. So there's going to be advantages to that. You want to keep that bait down just a little bit more. They said that the bait has a little more of an erratic action. Just, you know, watching it, observing it in the water. And they also said that the bait hits a little bit harder. Like when the bait is chattering, that blade hitting on that harder head, it's not soft. It's not as soft as lead, much harder. You get a little more of a harder thump. Like they said, you could definitely feel it. So so believe it or not, I'm actually really excited to fish those because I love chatterbaits. I love the jackhammer. I've not got a chance to fish the Evo a lot, but now they went ahead and just jumped right into the tungsten. If I'm going to be skipping a chatterbait up under docks and things like that, probably won't go with the smaller head. But if I'm casting it and I want something with a little different sound, a little different feel, that may be exactly what the doctor ordered. So going to keep that in mind, going to work that into the mix, and I'll give you a real-time. Most of the other Z-Man baits were more saltwater focused. They did have one little, the scope looking shad with a line through. It's cool. It had a line through, and you tie it on to that below the jig head, and it had a minnow part and a realistic looking jig head. I didn't get to throw it, feel it, really play with it too much, but that was really cool looking. That there could be a deal with that. So just check out the stuff that Z-Man had. Man, I'm trying to think through everybody else. Pradco had some cool new products. They've been putting those out on the internet. They did a good job. I know they're on bassmaster.com on their new product category. But man, a fair amount of new baits, not as many as I've seen in the past, but a fair amount of new baits. You guys are going to check out. If I missed anything, drop it down there. And like always, I appreciate you guys watching. And I'm going to tell you right now, this thing is the deal. I can't wait to get it into action.